So once you have a general idea of what the customers are after, you can begin to come to your research and development stage and begin to implement your strategy. Quick tour of the page is the age profiles here, saying how old each of your products are. The material costs, old and new. Up here you have your positioning and your MTBF, as well as when it's going to be revised and how old it is when it's revised, plus the cost of revision. And then here are the perpetual maps. Remember, this is shown at the end of the year, so the circles actually started out a little bit in this direction and they drift down and to the right as the year goes on. Each of the green squares, you can actually change the numbers inside of there. So let's say you wanted to play our low-cost strategy, and instead of trying to straddle these two segments, you said, okay, I'm just going to play it back near the edge. And so if you said, okay, well, I like to play it back near the edge, you could take Able and we'll put it, say, at 4.5 and 15. That moves it back near the back edge of the circle, takes it just outside of the high-tech segment. Another thing that you may notice is the MTBF, if you're playing the low-tech, maybe a little bit high. And either way, as long as you're in the low-tech, 21,000 is above the recommended range for the people, and you're not being rewarded for these extra costs that you're spending because you're outside of the range. So I'll go ahead and I'll change that down to 20,000. If you really were playing low cost, you may even consider dropping that price lower. As you look over at the material costs now, instead of being about $15.75, $16, you're now sitting down around $10. You saved yourself $5. And by doing that, you'll also be able to price your product just a little bit better, and remember that price is worth 41% of this market. The next thing is age. As you look, this year this product is not going to be able to be redeveloped because the R&D is taking so long on it. It's actually till 25th of April next year, which isn't a big problem, but it's a good habit to be in to finish your projects by the end of the year, December, just in case you decide that you need to change them by next year. And it also helps you keep things under control. The other thing is, you look in your green book at the age profiles, is that right now it's at 3 years old, which is the very top of the demand scale. But by the end of the year it's going to be 4, and then by the time it's redesigned it's going to be about 4.5. So you're beginning to come right down this chart and you're starting to get into lower areas. Whereas if we, at the end of the year, at age 4, redesigned it, it'll put us over to 2, which keeps us right up here in the very top of the demand scale, which is going to help as you're trying to sell more products to the range. If you were to redesign it right now, again, if you're playing the low tech, you're going to be down here a little bit too low at about 1.5. But if you're playing, you wanted to sell more to the high tech, 1.5 is actually a lot better than 3 or even 4. So that depends on where your strategy is on how much you want to design it. If you wanted to play the high-tech game, you could redesign it right away and put yourself right up here on the demand scale instead of down here in the orange. Because since this is the first round, there are no products that are fully high-tech products. So the high-tech, they're still going to buy from you either way. So let's change this product so that we are within the year. So we'll move it to, I will say 5.3 and maybe 14.6 and see where that puts us to. And you see that keeps us within the year. It's redesigned. Costs us a little bit more because it's more forward on the positioning map. The materials are a little bit more expensive. But it finishes in October this year. It's revised at 2. So remember that we revised from 4 to 2 and we're still right at the very top of our age scale. That's one way of playing it. Another way of playing it may be to just move this product slightly to drop the age, or you may even want to move it up to the front of the circle and just focus on high tech. Again, that's your strategy. If you were to add another product, just remember, try and keep the first name the same, and then you could add things in just the same if you wanted to put one here and begin developing, because it's going to take you just as long as anybody else to develop a product. And you can see where that puts you. It's going to be released of April in the next year, which will be nice because you'll be one of the first people to get out. If you were to put this, say, at too far up and you're trying to play too far up in the circles, you can see that you're not going to be out to July, which is going to be harmful for your product. Not